Hey beauty babes, welcome to my channel. I'm Maria, aka Agape Love Girl. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I am back with another collab video and it is another face-off challenge. You guys know by now the face-off challenge is one of my very favorite challenges to do, as well as collabs to do with other people. I love this challenge because it really just brings you out of your kind of comfort zone. It does definitely challenge you and you get to see two people creating looks with the same shadows, and I think that's always fun and exciting to see. Now I am doing a collab with Alexandria. We have collabed in the past. The last collab we did was also a face-off challenge as well, and I really loved that video and the look that I created, and I really enjoyed doing this face-off challenge with her. Now today we are going to be using the Conspiracy palette, which I'm really excited for because I have not used this palette on my channel yet. I have created lots of looks with it. I had so much fun playing with it, but I have not created content with it on my channel, so I'm really excited to be filming this today using this palette, and especially also because Alexandria was so kind and she actually gifted this palette to me. It was a total surprise and it just blew me away. Like literally actually brought tears to my eyes when I opened it up and saw it. So anyways, it's very special to me that she would gift that to me, and I'm so excited to be doing this collab with her. If you guys are not familiar with Alexandria, I feel like you should be because I've mentioned her a few times on my channel, but she is a smaller YouTuber, smaller creator, but she has such creative ideas. I love her beautiful colorful looks, and she's just such a sweet person, and I definitely think she deserves a lot more you know, subscribers and recognition, things like that. And I'm kind of laughing, I'm sorry, because I just had to say that like 5 times because I kept getting tongue-tied. So anyways, if you're not familiar with the face-off challenge, it is basically like a palette bingo. 5 shades are randomly chosen, but the difference with the face-off is you have 2 people using the same shadows. We're kind of like facing off. We're each creating looks with these same shadows, see how they turn out. This was an idea created by another YouTuber here, Danielle Schmidt. I always link her in the description box. Credit goes to her for coming up with such a fun and creative idea. So anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the shadows that were chosen randomly. Now, Alexandria is the one who chose the shadows. She basically just like random number generator and picked the top 5 for us to use. And so I have known these shadows for a while. And so I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to be doing today. We're just going to hope it turns out. All right, so the random numbers that were chosen were 15, 3, 16, 9, and 10. So those shades equate to Tanacon up here, Food Vibes, this neon yellow, Trisha, this metallic pink, Not a Fact down here, and then Sleep Paralysis. So I'm going to swatch those and show them to you up close so you guys can see the color story. But what was kind of interesting when I saw these shades was that a lot of these shades, not all of them, were shades that were some of the ones that I was most interested in and had wanted to, okay, I'm going to kind of rabbit trail a little bit, but I created a video when this palette first came out. I really wanted this palette, but I missed out on getting it. And so I decided to kind of like shop my stash, and I found a palette that I thought was similar to some of the shades in here that I was most interested in. So I created a look inspired by the Conspiracy palette, and some of these shades that we have today were used for that look. I mean, not these exact shades, but the ones that were similar. Anyways, I thought that was kind of funny that it was similar shades. If you haven't seen that video, if you were interested, I'll link that video. It's a little bit older, but anyways, that kind of came to mind when I saw this color story, and the look I created, I could have kind of created something a little bit similar, but obviously I want to try to go in a very different direction. But anyways, these are the colors that we got. It's a very interesting color story, a little bit, I don't know, it's like somewhat muted, somewhat boring, but also somewhat just very interesting. So anyways, with that being said, enough of my rambling, let's go ahead and get into this look. Alright, so I'm sure as you guys have noticed, I do have my face fully done. Normally I like to do my eyes at first, but I actually recently just did a video doing a multi-indie palette bingo, and I came on camera with my face already done. It was more preventative measures so I wouldn't cry on camera because it was a little bit of an emotional video, but I kind of was like loving the way it was to have my face done first and then do my eyes afterwards, even though I feel like it's a little bit more of a struggle with fallout. You have to be a lot more careful, but I don't know. So I was just in the mood to have my face done first and figured we'd just go into the eyes, and let's just hope I don't have any crazy fallout. But anyways, that being said, I do have some concealer on my eyes, but I am going to go ahead and prime my eyes with the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start off first with the shade Food Vibes. That is that bright neon yellow shade. I'm just going to take it on a kind of like tapered or flat-ish blending brush, and I'm going to bring that to the inner corner of my transition area. Of course, as usual, I'm super excited to see what Alexandria is going to create with these colors. This is a very, like I already said, interesting color story. And I know that Alexandria is very creative with color, so I'm just very excited to see what she's going to do. I'm hopefully doing something that's not too predictable, hopefully. I want to try to do something fun and interesting and different, and we'll see how it turns out. This is a really pretty shade. I hadn't really used this shade actually from this palette before this, so I'm really excited to have used it. I think next I want to go into the shade Not a Fact, because that's the other matte we have besides Tannicon, and Tannicon's basically like my skin tone color, even though it's like a light brown, but I mean that's kind of my skin tone color. So I'm gonna take that on another kind of similar tapered blending brush, and I'm gonna bring that to the back half of my crease and kind of start blending it towards the yellow here. But I know that I will have to be very careful because yellow and purple are complementary colors, which means they'll look good next to each other, but when you blend them they will start to neutralize or muddy, so they could turn out kind of gray or brown. So I'm gonna have to blend very carefully and just really hope this works. I'm also gonna try to start very slow, so I'm tapping off any excess that's on my brush. That way I don't get any fallout, because this is a dark color and obviously I already have my face on, so I don't want to create too much crazy fallout with this shade. So I'm trying to be very, very careful once I get close to that yellow shade. I'm kind of just patting and blending because I still want there to be like a nice blend and a gradient, but I don't want to over blend to where it gets muddy. I think it's looking pretty nice, so I'm happy with how it's coming along, but I'm still a little nervous. Alright, now just because I need to use this shade and I can't really think of any other way to use it, I'm going to use the shade Tannicon just to lightly put that on my brow bone and blend downwards a little bit, just to kind of soften up these edges. I feel like I did a pretty good job with blending and making it really soft, like a nice blend here, but just to do a little extra blending and just to use that shade, I'm going to do that with Tannicon. Just very, very lightly go into that shade, just so we can say I used it. Now you do get a lot of color when you pick this up, so I am just picking a little bit up, and I'm gonna see how much I'm gonna dust off because I really don't want too much of it. Maybe cheating, I don't know, but look at, that's a pretty good amount of color I have there, so I'm just gonna lightly, I don't even know if you guys are gonna be able to tell because literally that color is just like my skin tone. I've used it before and it's like, it's just my skin tone, so, but it will help with a little bit of blending, so I'm just gonna kind of sweep here and bring it just down and around just to soften up and kind of like maybe help meld this color right here together. Very, very softly. So I feel like right here I can see the difference on camera compared to how like this color here looks, I mean on camera, in person in my mirror. The difference with just softly adding that color, makes it a little bit darker, more like my skin tone, whereas this is still a little bit lighter from the concealer and the primer. So not fully cheating, but a little bit, I feel like. There's a little difference. I just want to be very, very gentle and careful. But I am going to go into the shade Trisha, which is that metallic pink shade. I'm going to take out my flat packing brush and I'm going to take that all over, wow, I cannot talk today, the majority of my lid here. Now I feel like this shade does lay down quite well on its own, but I may go ahead and spray it with some setting spray just to ensure I don't really get any fallout. But I'm going to try it on its own first, just carefully patting and kind of sweeping it into place. Alright, that actually laid down really nicely on its own. I did get a little bit of fallout, but since I did have shadows down already, I feel like it's not as like vibrant as it could be. So I'm going to go ahead and go in with some setting spray and a little bit more of that shadow just to make it pop, like intensify it a little bit more, so it can have its, you know, little shine moment on top of those other shades. Alright, I got the pink laid down, and looking at this, I feel like there is definitely a little bit of a harsh transition. Like, I feel like this almost could have been, or maybe would have looked better if I did like an actual cut crease, just because the contrast between these two colors is very like interesting. It's very stark. I think I could have gone in with the shade Cheese Dust. If I really wanted to make like a really nice transition, I could have gone in with this orange shade Cheese Dust as a transition, then used Food Vibes, the yellow on top, and then put the pink down here like I have it, and that would have made a nice gradient transition, which with the Face Off Challenge, you can bring in other shadows and use them. That's totally fine. With the rules, you just have to use the 5 shades that were chosen as well, but I just like the idea of using as much as I can just the 5 shades because it's so much more challenging and fun to create. So, but anyways, if you were wanting to create something similar, maybe I'm just letting you know what you could do, or just straight up do a cut crease, because that's when you have that more harsh like transition, and it's fine. But I just really wanted to do like softer lines, so that's why I didn't do a cut crease. So I feel like this needs a little bit more blending, and it'll look okay. And also, just now that I have the pink down, I think I want to bring that purple in just a little bit more, so I think that's where I'm going to do a little bit more of the blending, just so it's not such a stark like 3 different sections of color. I want to make it like a little bit softer and a little bit more cohesive. So I'm going to go in with a very small blending brush, I think, and go back into that shade Not a Fact, and start blending that where I laid down Trisha and a little bit over the yellow, just to kind of like help it become a little bit more seamless. Okay, I like that. I think I may even go back in with a little bit more of the yellow too, just to soften up that blend and add a little bit more of it back. But you see how just adding this a little bit more of that shape rounded just makes it look a little bit more connected and a little bit more seamless, rather than this is just a little bit more choppy, which nothing wrong with this. Is actually an interesting look, but I just wanted to make it a little bit more cohesive, and just doing that little touch of extra blending and extra color, I feel like just really pulls the look together. Alright, I'm liking the way that looks, so now with that same brush, I'm just going to wipe it here on this towel, and I'm going to go back into Food Vibes just to add a little bit more of that yellow back in. What's nice is blending this on top of that pink now, it is creating a little bit of an orange color in between, so it's creating its own little gradient there. Alright, so I do have one more shade to use, and that is Sleep Paralysis, and I thought about bringing that to my lower lash line, which I feel like kind of would be a little bit predictable, but interestingly enough, Sleep Paralysis is, I think, one of the only, I don't think any of the other shades did this to me, but Sleep Paralysis, I remember when I've used it before and I put it in my lower lash line, whenever I was blending, or even just like, even when I was really careful, any shadow that like flicked up into my eye, which shadow does, it just does that sometimes, you get a little bit of dust in your eye, it burned and made my eyes water really bad. So I don't want to put on my lower lash line. What I want to do is actually something similar that I did in a previous, actually my most recent Face Off Challenge video, where I used the shadow over top of liner, winged liner, and it was so pretty. So I want to try it with Sleep Paralysis, and I want to be very careful with it. Now, I normally, if you guys have been watching any of my makeup videos, when I do a wing liner, I like to use my shadow shields. And I didn't do that today because I did my face first. I don't like to use shadow shields after my face makeup is already done, because the stickiness pulls up whatever makeup is underneath. So I only use those when I'm doing my eyes first. Since I didn't do that, I'm a little bit nervous to try to attempt a wing liner freehand, but I'm gonna go for it. But anyways, just so you guys know, I probably won't talk much through this because I'm gonna really need to concentrate. So I'm going to do my wing liner best I can, and then I'm just going to go ahead and start topping my winged liner with the shade Sleep Paralysis. I think it'll be a really pretty and interesting combo, so I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. And as usual, for my wing liner, I'm going to be using my Urban Decay Perversion Waterproof Fine Point Eye Pen. Just cross my fingers and really hope that I do okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and go in, like I said, with just this like liner brush, and then tap into Sleep Paralysis and start tapping and sweeping that over my wing liner. And this is a little bit of a darker metallic shade, so hopefully it shows up as well as the last time I tried this. The last time I did this in my Face Off Challenge, I used a blue shadow, and it turned out so pretty. So I really hope that this turns out just as good. Alright, I feel like I pulled that off fairly successfully, and here's how it's looking. Even though my wings weren't quite perfect, I feel like just adding the shadow on top kind of can help it out a little bit, and that's a really, like, it's a really beautiful shade. I'm kind of bummed that I didn't maybe do something more with sleep paralysis because it's such an interesting shade. It would have been really great as like the main focus of this look. Over top of the black liner, it's looking just very kind of silvery gray or whatever, but it actually has a little bit of a duochrome kind of shade. It kind of pulls a little bit purpley pink, but also silvery gray. It's a very interesting shade. Now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of hope maybe like Alexandria does something substantial with that shade because it's so pretty. But anyway, so now I'm gonna go ahead and move on to my lower lash line, and for that I am gonna keep it fairly simple. I'm just gonna take a very tiny little smudgy brush. I'm gonna go back into the shade Not a Fact and run that close to my lower lash line. Now taking that smaller blending brush I was using earlier, I'm just gonna take a touch of that same shade and try to blend it a little bit so it doesn't look so harsh. Actually, I might even take a little bit of Tannicon too and try to help soften and blend that. Alright, here's what we got going on so far. I do think I want to do something for the inner corner. I think I'm going to go ahead and grab the shade Ranch, which is an extra shade, but since I did use all the other shades in this look, we're good. But I'm going to take a little bit of Ranch and pop that to the inner corner of my eyes. Alright, now I really want something fun for my waterline, so I'm going to go ahead and use this LA Girl Shockwave liner. This is actually a lip liner. The shade I'm putting on is called, Pop. And this definitely does add a pop of bright pink color to this look, which is really fun. So I'm going to go ahead and put on some mascara. I'm contemplating lashes, but I'm really unsure if I feel like wearing lashes. But before I do that, I also want to add a little star stamp. So I'm going to go ahead and take my Lottie London star stamp and pop that where I normally always do on my cheekbone. Alright, so I did decide to go ahead and put on some lashes, but I just went for some natural like half lashes, so it's still much more of a natural lash look, but it still adds a little something because I really wasn't in the mood for big lashes, but I still felt like this look needed a little outer corner something. So anyways, I'm using the NBA Cosmetics half lashes. The style is called Whimsy, and like I said, I feel like they were just the perfect touch for this look, so it still looks very more like natural lashes, but with just that added little touch at the end. And then for lipstick, I'm using the NARS Power Matte, or no, what is this? Yeah, Power Matte Lip Pigment in the shade London Calling. This is lipstick from my makeup basket this month, and it was lipstick that I haven't yet used, and I wanted to be sure to, get some use out of it, and I'm really glad I did. It looks really good, I think, with this look, even though it's pretty bold and so is my eye, but I think this whole look pulled together really well. I would love to know your thoughts on how my look turned out. I had so much fun doing this. It was, I don't think like too different for me, but still a little bit different for what I would normally do, and that's what I, again, love about these face-off challenges, because they really do challenge you to kind of go out of your comfort zone and get creative with these random colors that are selected. So I really had fun with today's video and creating this look. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I'm so excited to see what Alexandria comes up with these colors and how her final look turns out. So anyways, with that being said, if you are here from Alexandria's channel, I am so sorry that I didn't say anything in the beginning. Normally I like to do that when I have a collab. I kind of like want to say hello to anyone who's new here. I am so sorry. That escaped my mind earlier, so forgive my rudeness. But if you are here from Alexandria's channel, I just want to say welcome. Thank you so much for coming over and checking out my channel. I really hope you guys like what you see. Towards the end of this video, I will put some videos on the screen of other content that you might enjoy, so maybe consider sticking around if you want to and have the time. And if not, I just want to thank you so much for even coming here and watching this. I do hope you guys enjoyed this. To my subscribers and audience, I hope you guys will consider heading over to Alexandria's channel and showing her some love from Agape Love Girl. Consider subscribing. I think you guys will love her. But anyways, with that being said, I just want to thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, much love and hugs to you. Bye, beauty babes. Mwah!